Alright, here we go, fam. It is time to rumble. Here we go, here we go, here we go. And it looks like we have an RF Gelgoog in the mix here. A very strong 650 support that almost plays like a regular general, but not quite. Alright, let's see. Here we go. Into the mix here. We are going to be fumbling stuff. Alright, looks like G-Bat's running there. We have the Psycho Bao with Epion, and then we have Uncle Rod in the Dryson. Switching over to the B side, we have Fumby in the 3B, if I'm not mistaken. We have the Raid Rizel, and we have a Denenzon. Alright, going into the mix of things here, we have David heading the charge there with both G-Bat and Uncle Rod trying to capitalize on that double team, but unfortunately they were able to break it up with Mental kind of coming in there. G-Bat's looking very low, and he clashes with Fumby, and unfortunately he goes down with a 3-2 advantage for the B team. It's like we got David pushing forward with Uncle Rod being pushed back, and unfortunately he goes down as well. That is a complete wipe for Team A, with Team B taking over the central spot of E there. It is very important as players to capitalize on this part, because in a larger scale fight of, say, 5v5, 6v6, it is a lot more stuff going on, and map control is very, very important. So, alright, let's see what's going on here. We have G-Bat kind of already spawning in with the two other guys coming right behind him, his teammates. And it looks like, let's see what's going on over here. David is already kind of setting up here with Mental kind of saturating, keeping him pinned down here. Oh, man. There's nothing more exciting to see what the other team's gonna do. Especially with this sort of... Oh, Uncle Rod's down there. He's gonna get double teamed right now. Oh, no! And he just ate it. I think. No, that was actually a kill for G-Bat. G-Bat freaking counters. Oh my god, that is craziness. Alright, let's see what's going on over here. Uncle Rod coming around here. He's trying to get a beat on Mental there. Get some good hits there. Good solid hits. And he unfortunately misses his downswing with Mental, countering with a couple hits of his own. David returning to the battle there. He is coming in from behind. And they both, between him and Mental, finish off Uncle Rod, forcing that 2v1 now on G-Bat. It's going to be a very disadvantaged fight, because now it's a 2v2, it's even. I am mispronouncing, sorry. Dryson is Uncle Rod, and Epion is the Psycho Bao there. G-Bat goes down. Uncle Rod is left defending against the Denenzon, which takes wow, somehow he managed to dodge that follow-up there, but is now getting hit by the Psycho Wahoo hits there. That's an unfortunate thing about an all-range attack, is sometimes it trips up your own teammates as well. Alright, so 2v1 advantage for Team B there, with the Bao taking that double team there, and unfortunately they go down with another team wipe. Also, one thing to note is, I think, is he gonna plant? Might be a little too early at the 4-minute mark. And it looks like everybody is now slowly spawning in. We have David kind of creeping from the back. All three of those guys pushing forward onto Mental, who's more likely has that heavy attack. Maybe he's brought out of it. Mental's at half health. Oh man, the iframes just saved him there. And then Uncle Rod with finishing off Mental, which is actually a pretty nice thing. You don't really have to do the full windup on the Dryson, just a slap to the side or a neutral hit is enough to just knock him down, just to follow up with some other stuff. And it looks like we are fighting at Alpha's home base. GBAT's trying to rotate around, try to get a beat on the Denonzon, who's kind of just there. Rod unfortunately goes down with Fumby and David kind of double teaming with actually Mental coming back in. Another team wipe, but David's really low and so is Fumby. Fumby is now using the opportunity to get that 2-minute bonus to plant, get that extra points. Right now we have a 6K-ish lead for B. And that's not to say that Team A is not trying. They are definitely getting kills, and it looks like there might be a squabble between both Mental and David for some odd reason. I'm not sure why, but alright, it looks like we have the bomb planted right now. We have both teams kind of duking it out at the Medea here at Alpha. Alright, it looks like GBAT and Mental are starting to go at it, with Uncle Rod trying to help out there. It looks like Epion's trying to go and maybe use his Psycho Plates to take out the pilot, which unfortunately, because of hitboxes and everything, it is very hard to. Fumby's just guarding the bomb right there. He's there. He's just like, this is mine. This is my house. Alright, looks like we had another battle ensuing over at E again. GBAT is getting pressed by David with Uncle Rod right behind him. Mental's got his heavy attack, I believe, ready to go. No, he does not. He does try to do a neutral swing, tries to counter GBAT, but unfortunately is unsuccessful there. Both are very low, and it looks like Mental wins that fight there, with Rod trying to capitalize on Mental's low health there. Unfortunately, now he's in a rock and a hard place with Uncle Rod taking that heavy attack. Alright, we have a 1v2 situation with David and Mental now pushing Epion there. With, oh man, all three of them here. It's just unfortunate. Yeah, there must be some type of internal squabble with David downswinging Mental. I wonder if he's getting enough paid. And then Fumby downswinging David. Oh no! Man, somebody must have taken the last donut or something, I swear. I only seen that type of squabble in behind the locker room or something. Alright, 40 seconds left to go on the match, and the rest of Team A all spawn in. They're all coming in. Epion's going after Fumby. And it looks like he's somewhat successful with David just pelting at him at a distance. Alright, all three are trying to charge David, and he's very low. Who's going to get the kill? Ah, Uncle Rod almost had it. Definitely some pretty exciting there. Uncle Rod actually gets that kill with Fumby taking out Epion there. Definitely some good hits there. It is very clear that this was going to be very one-sided, but at the same time, it does demonstrate what these guys dedicate themselves to with the suits. These are all pretty good, strong suits in the right hands. Alright, we got some top kills with Uncle Rod there, and Fumby there, and a big push between GBAT and Dave there. We have our favorites thus far. I think because GBAT's at the top of the list, it's going to show me what he's rolling there. So, alright, ladies and gentlemen, match 2. Here we go. Survey says we have a Delta Kai. Now, I'm not sure if there's any cosmetic differences between the regular Delta Kai and the Ants, but I guess we will find out sooner or later. More than likely, this is the regular Delta Kai, because I know we're not 600, but ooh, it is still one sexy suit. All right, here we go. Alpha here. Looks like everybody all kind of congregating between that wall. We have Team B kind of just situated there. Let's see, what are they running here? Mental still running that Rizel. We have, oops, sorry. We have trying in the G first. And we have Epion in the prototype Psycho Gunda. Representing B side, we have Jang in the Fail Through. Fail Not, excuse me, not Fail Through. Rod in the Ground type Zeta full armor. Fumby still rocking that 3B. And David as a Gerbera, which unfortunately gets taken down. Alright, yeah, everybody right now is currently centered in the C side, right above that lovely sniper nest that everybody loves to congregate over. Alright, let's see what's going on here. Most of A is still alive, with B being kind of wiped out. Let's see. Very important part. Looks like Jang is getting the excuse me, C point there. Or excuse me, trying. I am forgetting names. But rightfully so, because controlling C on this linear map is so important. Not because of just map control, but because there's only so many ways through this multi-layered map, and we're dealing with high-cost weapons here. It does kind of limit your flanking maneuvers here, as we're seeing B kind of turtle up a little bit because of that team wipe there. They are having to kind of play at their strengths and letting the enemy kind of push in very awkwardly and push that numbers advantage there. We have Mental kind of slowly getting pressured by the Tristan Fail Throughs. Fail Not. Full armored, and the other Zeta there. Epion pressuring from a safe distance with the Proto Psycho. Now getting double teamed by Fumby and Uncle Rod there. I think Uncle Rod just overheated his thrusters by tackling, which leaves Fumby to do most of the work, but looks like Eon's getting pushed back and into a corner as they all just gang up on him there. Alright, we have Uncle Rod getting taken down and pressured by Mental, which is now getting double teamed by Jang as well. It is just a cluster mess out here with the amount of stuff going on here. Let's see what's going on with over here at C, with the fight being between Fumby and Mental. Mental just going to town, taking out Fumby, and unfortunately getting shot in the back by Uncle Rod. Now tossing it up with G-Bat. And unfortunately that is a wipe for the most part. With... Ooh. Alright, David kind of shooting from Sniper Alley there, trying to fight all four if he can. Knowing Mr. David, he would actually do that as well. We have trying to get B right now. Getting some backup from the other side. Let's see, we have G-Bat kind of just getting his MBL ready with trying backing him up. Bumpy getting caught in the middle by that. He's taking a little bit of hits there. Looks like Mental pushing a little too forward, right at their spawn. Fortunately, Trying gets countered. Trying to put pressure on Fumby, the support there. And he takes actually a few hits, even though his tackle got negated and didn't get a counter off. Mental getting that kill there. And we also have a 2v2 here going on at B, with basically Trying being a little low. Looks like the Rod is pushing up there. Jang just got dropped. With Mental fighting both of them off right now. They're all regrouping at C. Guess there was a bomb plant that we had that I just totally missed, but unfortunately it was defused. It is pretty close so far, with most of the fight kind of spread out a little bit outside of C. It looks like Looks like some... Oh, man. Just so much going on. The fighting is definitely pretty fierce right now, even for me trying to keep up with all this. Rod is very low and gets finished off by Epion there. Looks like we have Fumby getting double teamed with Trying and GBAT kind of just taking turns, swinging. Not much you can do here other than maybe try to get as much damage as you can with them being in your face already. And unfortunately, Fumby does what he can before he gets dropped here. We have basically less than 2 minutes ago, Jang is over here hanging out by spawn, waiting for his teammates and trying to get damage when he can, with Mental kind of pushing in there. Uncle Rod flanking from the side. Epion at half health, just getting his lock-ons in between as time permits. But he's way forward there as actually he actually regroups back there now with the rest of the team at the midpoint of B. Looks like A is definitely getting the advantage there. I don't know if they realize that GBAT is really low in that canyon there, with 2 in that long canyon to the backside of B. Yeah, Epion is also very low. Trying's gonna go there, try to help him out. I don't know if this will be enough to tie this up for the most part. I think Trying didn't get most of his hits there, but I think he's gonna go down in flames. We have GBAT very, very, very low. They would have to get probably 2 more kills just to win at this point. With 30 seconds left, GBAT's hanging back there, now pushing into the spawn side of A. Both teams just trading shots here. Fumby at half health with David also at half. It is going to be very, very close. I can feel it. With that last push, unfortunately, B team was not able to catch up. They got very, very close in the last couple of minutes, but unfortunately, A team, the team A, they managed to hold on. So definitely a good push with double supports on B's team. That is definitely a feat to not scoff at, considering their rocky start from the beginning. But A wins this round. Alright, here we go. Last match for 650. Last match. And it looks like the Psycho Gundam's coming out. And it looks like we will be converting this match into a 5v5 after this, so it is very exciting so far. Alright, here we go. Everybody's doing NASCAR. We are only seeing a couple kind of going against that. Alright, it looks like tried going against the grain. He's down. Let's see. Let's look at the list here. We have Mental in the Psycho Gundam. Rod in the Ground Zeta. David running the Gyaradoga. GBAT in the RF Gilgug again. Jang in his classic RF Dom, the Indomitable Titan. And another Titan as well, running around. 2 RF Doms and the RF Goof there. We have a full RF team with a nice mixture of stuff going on here. Fumby going after, looks like Uncle Rod there. There's some intense stuff going on right now with everybody moving so fast. That's the thing with 650 cost and above, is everybody's moving around a lot faster than normal compared to when you're actually playing. That even with cameras, it's very hard to keep up. Uncle Rod just getting stun locked there, unfortunately. gets down with trying to back up, trying to get some space here. Fumby putting the pressure on there with relative unsuccessfulness there. Unfortunately, Mental goes down with trying to get that last hit, and he goes down. A team wipe for A. Looks like the RF team is now pushing on to David, who's now on that 1v4 disadvantage there. Everybody's taking trade shots there. Oh man, that is unfortunate there, but the damage is done. While Team B has that team wipe, we do have a couple folks that are not unscathed. It looks like Jang is very much damaged, with Fumby kind of right behind him there, so they do have to kind of watch out with the amount of intake damage there. It looks like both GBAT and Fumby are taking out the shuttle there to kind of make it open there. I didn't realize we were at Team A's spawn side. Looks like everybody's starting to roll out. They're starting to rotate. David takes the first hit with the GBAT taking swings at him. Jang's just sitting back, getting those nice range hits in. Just because the RF Dom is very tanky does not mean you have to always commit to going up close there. It is very much potent at distance, at a midline range. Looks like Uncle Rod's trying to capitalize damage on Fumby, but unfortunately gets a lot of hits taken out on him. It looks like 2v1 is definitely happening. Fumby's getting really low, but I think he can hit that happening there. Fumby's getting some quick hits on Mental, but unfortunately Mental's able to counter all that and finish the deal there. Jang and trying to take it out, and Jang is victorious, despite being very, very low health, but I don't think it's going to be for very long because Mental just seals the deal there. Looks like so far we are 3K down on Alpha side, while B team has a significant lead of 3K and change. Looks like Jang has spawned back in. Or, sorry, trying. Alright, looks like the whole team gang is here. It looked like they're starting to center on the Zaku 3 custom. Unfortunately, Fumby eats the heavy attack. This is just a melee on melee action going on. A lot of tackles, counter tackles, and swings, and just overall madness going on. Fumby's really low, and he takes out trying there. David's trying to get his wire to connect. Unfortunately, gets countered. It looks like they're just going to capitalize on that. Epion's very low right now, but he managed to counter that hit from David so cleanly. Yeah, despite having maybe 1 1/4 Doms running around, it's still enough to put pressure on Uncle Rod, as unfortunately he is finally taken down. Jang getting the credit for that kill there. Looks like everybody's starting to trying to recover in the short amount of time while sticking close. We have a solo spawn with Mental kind of pushing it. Nope, sorry. We have David right behind him, trying to keep pressure, kind of keep them on top of their toes while they're trying to heal. Looks like Jang is down. Or it might be Epion, sorry. It looks like GBAT and both Fumby are trying to put pressure on David. Thing, but gets flanked by Mental getting those hits in. It is just a melee fest for both Fumby and GBAT getting the hits on that. Getting hit with that mess there. GBAT taking a full retreat. Tactical retreat, sorry, with both Fumby and looks like Epion kind of trying to frontline a little bit, but unfortunately I think one of them have lost their lives. Looks like GBAT is in a tough pickle with both the Zaku 3 and the other two kind of double teaming. And, oh no, Epion just gets caught in that weird mess there. Alright, looks like we've hit the 2-minute mark, which means if Team A is able to get a plant off in that short amount of time, they might be able to tie this up, but with the fights being so intense right now, it would be a tactical disadvantage for their team, as it would leave a teammate out in the cold and force at 1v2 disadvantage there. Alright, so it's like we got David kind of pushing into that corner there. I believe we have Jang kind of backing off, trying to see if anybody chases in that long corridor. I think David's come to play to see. It looks like everybody's starting to push to Team B's spawn, with the fight being here. Got Trying being really low, and we also have Mental being very low. Trying goes down, unfortunately, taken down by Jang, and then GBAT gets another kill there. 48 seconds left. Uncle Rod is by his lonesome. He's trying to get hits in, but he's trying to keep things alive in the 40 seconds. And unfortunately, he goes down. David has returned with the RF team coming back right around the corner, and they're all getting the stun locks hit. 20 seconds left. Can they get one more kill in this last? Ooh, GBAT's really low. Trying might be able to get a hit in, unfortunately. And then David goes down, unfortunately. No, David's still up, sorry. Bumby went down, so they did get a kill. Some definite fierce fights going on in 650 here on Arctic Base today. While it's a 3K deficit, there is no doubt in my mind that both these teams tried really damn hard, and they definitely should get credit for all that. Some craziness there. The thing with 450 to keep in mind is we do have still a good variety of suits in play, despite not having all the shenanigans and the level of speed that we've seen at 650. So that'll be interesting to know once we get into the field there, what these teams bring. Alright, here we go. Let's go, Tom. And our first one is the good old Uma Lightning. This is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Alright, so leading off for us, we have Trying in the RF, or not the RF, Uma Lightning. David in the full armor Alex. Busy with the good old G3. Uncle Rod with Grandpa, it looks like. And we have Noble running in the Engage 0, I believe. Verluth running the good old Gun Cannon Detector. Bumby trying to get that midpoint there for his team with the good old Striker Kai. Another Uma Lightning. Epion with the Jetta, good old favorite, and we also have Jang running the good old Gazam. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the big clash already happening between E there, mostly at E, although definitely getting pushed back on that side there. Definitely some shenanigans going on with Noble getting a kill. Team A in the lead, very slight lead. With all this extra building coverage, it does make it a lot more harder to kind of get those sight lines going on there. As we swoop around here, we have Verluth kind of just getting hits in on that Uma Lightning. Oh man, that bombing looks so nice. Jang just getting those hits in is pretty nice. Oh man, the dogpile's happening over in that center point again. And it looks like Team B has got the lead thus far. But not without heavy cost with Verluth and Fumbi kind of being low. And as well as GBAT, it looks like. So you only have two other generals that have some sort of heavy push there. Definitely some shenanigans going on with the two generals left. Oh, man. Alright, looks like Team A has had to fall back to C with 2 spawns in. We have, I believe, trying with the Uma, and the Alex is there. Good trusty fight with trying to push in there, but unfortunately gets caught by Jang, but managed to fend him off there. It's a pretty good fight so far. The only thing that the Uma Lightning does lack is maneuver armor, but however, if it's able to midline unopposed, it has a lot of offensive power. And getting Jang down, a lot of that hits there. Oh man, Jang is almost finished off, just ever so slightly. Team A making a slight comeback. Despite being 3k down, we still got plenty of time in this match to do something crazy. Alright, everybody's kind of getting their things healed up. I believe Trying took the most damage there, so he's going to try to use this opportunity to make most of his time, with Team B already kind of just coming in. Looks like we have support fire coming in. It's right over at their spawn, and it looks like Jang just got caught by most of that, and David getting that free kill. That is unfortunate. Alright, looks like Epion just took a rocket from Trying there. Epion trying to push that forward there. He's getting hit by those incendiary missiles, and unfortunately gets Trying. Lelouch pushing up there, right by Epion there, pushing down that middle. Definitely a good push from their team, it looks like. And some stuff happening over here at E, where unfortunately Grandpa goes down. Bumby trying to get some hits in, and takes out Noble. And it looks like we got a wipe for Bravo in favor of Bravo. Looks like Team A's calling in some artillery. Looks like they're definitely fighting over C and literally E right now. It is crazy going back and forth with them just trying to like hold down. David unfortunately trying to make something happen. Unfortunately does not make it through. Trying just to get some stuff going on. He's not sure if he's calling in something. I think he might be calling in something. Rod trying to make something happen here. He's gambling, and Bumby catches him from behind. And I think it looks like G-Bat finishes the deal there. Lelouch is pretty much kind of in a weird spot, but he's backed up by Jang. Jang seeing that new aerial skill that the Gazam has, getting that bomb run in, definitely capitalizing on that cluster around that core there. Jang unfortunately goes down after getting triple teamed there, but he didn't have a whole much health to begin with once he was getting that bombing run going, trying to make the most of his life. And it looks like we got a contest with Team B there. And it looks like they are going to get E back. And it looks like the rest of Team B starting to spawn at C, with Jang, G-Bat, and Fumby in the mix. Fumby just literally at low health. Maybe he's going to probably gamble and try to make use of that strong melee that suit has. I think he already used his demon mode already. Epion playing that corner there, but little does he know that Noble's kind of running around the corner there. Might be trying to capitalize, but looks like B's pushing in a different way towards E. We're all getting double teamed here between G-Bat and Fumby. Unfortunately, Fumby not much love. Goes down. Rod going down as well. Alright, in the last minute stretch, Dizzy trying to get some hits in there, trying to stay alive while the rest of Team B starts chasing it down. And unfortunately, just couldn't do it. Alright, the last showdown over here at E. Looks like we got good old... Oh man, just so much stuff going on. A good stop in the run there with Noble and Uncle Rod trying to stop Fumby from just getting any type of momentum. Fumby just trying to get some swift switches going on. So swings. Oh man. Alright, 3, 2, 1. That is game. Despite the rough start, Team A made a pretty good effort to try to get back into the game. They got fairly close at one point. But we'll say this, it's still a good game, nonetheless. Alright, here we go. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Alright, jumping into, who do I have here? Looks like we have a VD. We have not seen a VD in action, but it is level 4 at this cost, so I am betting that this is gonna be running some overtune parts. Alright, looks like Relush is rolling that. That's cool. We got Relush in the VD, Fumby running the Nero Ewok, Dizzy running the Shar Gelgoog, G-Bat with the Gundam Gunner, Uncle Rod with the Gundam EX, with Trying still in the Uma Lightning, David running the Alex, Epion in a probably overtuned Aqua Gem, Jang in Grandpa, and we have the good old Johnny Raiden that just recently came out. Really crazy shenanigans going on right now. Alright, going into the skybox here, we have... Oh no. It looks like Dizzy's about to go down in a bit. He's going to try to make something happen. Unfortunately, does not make that work. Okay, we got 2 losses so far on A. With a 1,200 point lead in B's favor. And it looks like Fumby gets the first kill for Team A so far, but Uncle Rod is down, thus giving Team B a 3-kill lead. G-Bat gets another one too. Score spread is about 600 points still, so that's about roughly less than 1.5 kills there, which means this is still a pretty close game. Looks like Team A is getting that central point over at C. Very important, especially if you want to keep that forward momentum going. So their team is able to reinforce. We got some fighting down here. Fumby getting hits, but Relush is able to finish off that Grandpa there. Alright, we got... I believe this is Dizzy trying to get some hits on the good old Johnny Raiden. He's trying to regroup with the rest of his team there. Looks like Alex is right on the other side of there, which is perfect because, well, basically, it looks like his team is not defending him, which is kind of a bad pickle for the Alex there, because that thing has not really much resistance to melee, but then you also have the raid in the mix there. It just zeroes it so quickly. So it looks like B's getting pushed back into the canyon with... looks like trying to actually get a point there. So it looks like they're going to be trying some type of offensive. Fumby kind of just sneaking in, trying to get hits in as possible, because he's just literally a breath away from getting downed. Looks like Trying just gets dropped, with Jang just kind of holding the middle there, and B for kind of pushing up the middle. Berlouche getting that heat wire, very hard to hit sometimes, and gets that 2-hit downswing down with a third of the health and finishes him off. G-Bat getting that long hit corridor there. And he looks like he's getting a pretty good vantage point. Team A running a very unusual team right now with double supports, which is not something that you find very often in a 5v5. I'm not a big fan of it because it also negates your forward pushing momentum. However, when you have elements that can push as hard as this team, it looks like it can work. But that's a very unlikely time or unlikely chance in that sense because of the fact that it really depends on the people behind those suits, not just the suit picks, but the suit people, or the pilots, I should say. All right, looks like we got 2-3 pushing up there down the middle. Everybody's starting to come back in. We got a big Mexican standoff here going on with, looks like, the Aqua Gym literally pushing up, but the rest of his team's just gonna leave him stranded there with whole Team B pushing in and collapsing on the Aqua Gym. But the Yelgu high mobility with Johnny Ryden getting those hits in. Looks like the action has spread to D now. Now 1v2 with the Ewok Nero and the Yelgu kind of taking the other raid down, mostly down. But then they totally forget that the raid's back up. And unfortunately, Bumby goes down. And it looks like Team A has still the advantage. They've gotten that lead back. Dizzy's about to get dropped by Jang, which he does. Trying to get some barrages in. And it looks like Epion's trying to push in with his rockets. Jang gets a kill off with Grandpa. Alright, looks like we got a 1v1 going on here with Uncle Rod kind of playing a little bit midline there. Backs off. Jang trying to regroup and reposition. Unfortunately, that's a kill there. Okay, we got some action going on here with D. Looks like, ooh, God. We had David go down, plus their raid. So, almost a 12k, almost a 6k lead for Team A. Trying's getting in the thick of things, but unfortunately he's getting flanked by their support. Bumby's coming around there, trying to put pressure. He's trying to stun lock him. And it looks like, yeah, he's going to go down very shortly, with Bumby just finishing that off there. Definitely some tactical mistakes here, but at the same time, there is a lot of different things going on that some people are, you know, sometimes can have issues following. Alright, looks like B just called artillery, and it's right on top of Dizzy. Unfortunately, as with most experienced players, they usually get into the cockpit fast enough as the artillery drops, so he's safe. It's like trying to get some hits on there, score some hits. He's very low. David's coming back, coming around the corner, trying to get a bead on, looks like, Jang. There's just a lot going on. Bumby goes down. Looks like Uncle Rod's getting hit by the wall up of them. Berlouche coming around the corner with the VD and is out meleeed between the two targets, and just some team downswings back to back. Berlouche trying to get some hits in. Berlouche looks like he's lost his legs. He's trying to get some last minute damage, trying to get some points in there. Less than 10 seconds. Jang and Dizzy are going at it right now. And that's that. What a weird turn of events with double supports going into the mix there. That is pretty crazy. But nonetheless, very good efforts on both sides of the team. I know nobody likes losing. I certainly don't. But seeing that as you guys watched along with me, that is some crazy stuff going on. And definitely looks like Team A is trying to finalize. We got some last minute picks. For the most part, B is pretty squared away. They look like they know what they want to do, and they might have. Oh, looks like they were doing some last minute changes. We have about 60 seconds to go, but nonetheless, this gets very technical for some squads here. I imagine that it's gonna be thinking about all the different variables, metas, weapon configurations. This is a map that has some verticality as well. So, all right, here we go, folks. Kicking off for 550, I believe we have, so far, a Baowu. I've not seen one of these in a long time. Looks like Trying's running his usual colors. I gotta remember, this is Trying's color scheme. Alright, let's go down the roster here. We got, again, Trying with the Baowu. Bumby's running the Sisquid. David in the Aqua GBO2, Epion in the Uma, and Beefer running the Perfect Gundam. Representing B side, Reluge with the, oh man, he's getting a little tore up there. The Girazulu. Dizzy running the Yakushiki and gets a nice downswing there. G-Bat with that Saikomu Zaku 3. Jang with the prototype Zeta. And the Uncle Rod in the Rick Diaz here. Alright, folks, we got some shenanigans going on. A little bit spread out here. Got a bunch of fighting here on the outside, right outside of Alpha's spawn there. And it looks like David's getting 1v2'd right now between the Proto Zeta of Jang and Uncle Rod there. And unfortunately, Jang gets credit for that kill. Got a big cluster mess going on. Reluge being really low and also G-Back. But it looks like Team B is probably going to have the leg up so far in this fight. And it looks like they're going to be pushing to get A, which is going to get contested by Trying. It looks like David's going to be pushing in, trying to get the sneaky hits in. Looks like Dave got a kill. A good lucky hit. Reluge just lost his suit, but he's still very much alive. All right, we got the Sisquid and David kind of pushing up there. Uncle Rod getting hit by Mr. David himself, and so far kind of holding his own for a little while. Sorry, correction, my staff is saying it was the MP mass production Zeta. I apologize that, yeah, it is a mass production Zeta. Just prototype came out much quicker. Alright, looks like most of Team B just got wiped in that short amount of time. Looks like G-Bat's starting to get the brunt of that, and unfortunately goes down. MPJ, and so does Jang. So, looks like Team A just made a point comeback. They have about maybe a little shy of 2 kills of the lead. Looks like A is going to be a pretty prime point of contention. Looks like they're going to try to get that back. Maybe, we'll see. Looks like Jang is... Oh. And looks like Jang got that. Getting that nice kill there. And unfortunately, that Baowu is gone. It's kind of interesting because them fighting over here at A is not usually a good point that they usually fight over. A lot of times fights come higher up here, up at the ramp. Dizzy trying to chase after Fumby, and surprisingly, no escorts in between anywhere. None of his teammates are nearby, surprisingly. Dizzy getting free reign with backup literally on the way. And unfortunately, Fumby can't stay alive long enough for help to arrive. Also, another one loses. Jang getting credit for that kill. Lelouch almost there, pushing up in, trying to get shots in. It looks like he's lost his legs though. And unfortunately, David gets killed before Jang takes him out. And it looks like now the focus has been shifted over to B, where they're now fighting over that point, denying any type of retaliate spotting in spot. GBAT getting credit for that pilot kill, also known as war crimes in the GBO2 space. And it looks like, man, the fighting is still going on over at B, pilot-wise. Just a lot of action, but it gives enough distraction for Team A to start rallying a offensive with David pushing in with Epion and essentially beefers. So despite them not getting the capture on B, they did neutralize it and kind of cut off one of the points for them to respawn. But it's not enough as Team A gets the momentum to get that back, while Team B tries to regroup over at B, but they're kind of scattered and outnumbered. Trying and Funbeam pushing in, taking a crack shot over here at that little window between GBAT and now Jang. It looks like Uncle Rod's going to try to put pressure on both the support and both Epi on there, but unfortunately he goes down. Lelouch trying to push in there and gets knocked down. Humvee at a third of his health. Repositions, try to wait for those iframes in. And it looks like the capitalization is unfortunately not there, as Lelouch wasn't able to avoid the stun from Fumby and gets hit there. But they were able to, with the help of Uncle Rod, take out their support. David now pressing back a little bit, trying to take on both Uncle Rod and Lelouch. Getting those rockets hit in, but now entirety of Team B is pushing in, and it looks like they have a bomb plant as well. Team A has completely wiped except for one lone man trying to get the bomb plant with 40 seconds. It looks like we have a pilot in there. Alright, looks like the whole entirety of gang of Team B is here. With 20 seconds left to go, we have artillery coming in. Dizzy just happened to bail. He's going to try to clear it out first before he disarms. But unfortunately, he gets taken out. Lelouch is now in there next, trying to make sure that it's in there. And I think he's good. He might be disarming it. He might make it. And he disarms it. 50 seconds left to go, and a very tight spread game so far, with only about 2-3 kills between the team. Unfortunately, Dizzy gets dropped. Now 300 points difference between both teams. Unfortunately, Lelouch is down, and he is out, with Team A taking the lead with 30 seconds left in the match. Looks like Uncle Rod is starting to get dropped between all of them, just swinging on him. And they have taken the big lead so far. GBAT trying to make something happen, but he's very low. He might be lucky to get a couple hits in. Bumby's still on that perch there, now getting pressured by Dizzy and the Yakushiki. Unfortunately, Team A was able to score a couple more kills. And unfortunately, that is game. Despite having the initial lead, Team B unfortunately loses with a comeback from Team A, with only about 2-3 kills of a spread. That was a very close game. Very close game indeed. That was a very good fight. So definitely kudos for those guys.